Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. I am your host, Henry Harris. Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. I am your host, Henry Harris. We have a wonderful program for you today. Today we're going to talk about sexual health. I don't think we've ever talked about that on my show, but I believe that is relevant. I believe it's something we need to discuss. And our guest today is Derrick Wilson. Derrick Wilson is a prevention specialist at AIDS Project of the Ozarks and helps teach in regards to sexual health and prevention. The bulk of Derrick's professional experience has been involved not only in addressing sexual health, but working in the HIV/AIDS field via case management of individuals and family infected with or affected by HIV outreach events to promote awareness. And Derrick, thank you so much.
Thank you again, sir,
for taking this opportunity to be on the show today. So I want to ask this question. A lot of people don't think sexual health is important, but why is it important?
Well, you know, we really look at things here at AIDS Project or APO in a holistic manner. And so we like to be able to look at the whole person. People come to us concerned about sexual health or concerned about having contracted maybe a sexually transmitted infection. And we really like to try to take into account all of, all the things that might be going on for them and what might be leading them to the point where they need to see us. But, you know, sexual health, we are complex beings. Mm-hmm. We are humans having a very human experience, making sometimes some very human, not in our best interest choices. And sexual health can be, it can lead to some very life-changing situations.
Yeah.
Taking care of your sexual health, whether it's the reproductive health part of it, and having families, having children, or, again, going back to the sexually transmitted infections and how that can affect your overall health. We just want to make sure to address that, and sexual health is important to your overall well-being and your mental well-being.
Yeah, and it's a part of us.
Absolutely.
Too. So why is it important that others be informed about sexual health, and what are some of the risks?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I think that we find working this kind of job is that things in sexual health, there's always new information. Mm-hmm. There's always a new study about whether it's HIV or something like syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia. There's all sorts of information that keeps coming out. There's always the possibility of change in protocol for treatment. So for folks that are outside of this kind of work, just keeping up on the latest information about sexual health and trends in sexual health or infections is kind of important, just so that they make sure they take care of themselves. And that helps them take care of partners, helps hopefully keep the rise of STIs down,
yeah.
Keeps the community healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just really good to keep up on your own, to make sure you're healthy and strong and good to take care of all the things in your life, but that also ripples out into the community and how people can feel more comfortable addressing their sexual health or coming to a place like us to help them with their sexual health.
Oh, that's amazing. So
yeah.
STDs, which means sexual transmitted diseases, what are some of the most common ones, and also what can be the main prevention from contracting it or any STD?
Yeah, gotcha. Well, I'm going to go back to the old standby. The way to avoid STDs
Abstinence.
Abstinence, yeah. I mean, I was going to say.
That's what somebody told me the other day. They said,
folks don't like to think about it, but it's not the most fun.
No,
However, it is the foolproof way.
Yeah.
If you're not engaging in any sexual activities, you're going to be pretty darn safe, obviously, from contracting any sexually transmitted infections or diseases.
Nothing to worry about.
There's nothing to sneeze at. You know, there's nothing wrong with I tell folks, nothing wrong with being picky.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with taking your time, making sure you're in a good place, that you have a good partner. But, you know, the slight joking aside, abstinence is important. Some folks choose that and continue that for long periods of time in their life.
Sometimes people do it in a way of saving themselves till marriage.
Absolutely. So that's like the main key. Like that's definitely going to be the thing. But if you choose to be sexually active, you know, the main stuff I would say is, you know, be informed, like we were talking about. You know, kind of know what you're getting into, so to speak. And then if you're going to be sexually active, you know, please feel free to come to a place like us. We provide free supplies for safer sex gear, if you will. So whether that's condoms for men, for women, lubricant, dental dams, all of those supplies or all those materials can be gotten free from us, no charge, no judgment. And that just provides a good, safe barrier between you and a partner.
Yeah.
So, you know, say if you were just getting into a relationship, hopefully you've both done your testing, just if you've had prior sexual partners, just to make sure that you're good to go and no infections are coming into your new relationship with you. You know, it's not necessarily a bad thing for a little bit, just to make sure you're copacetic with each other and everything's good. Use those safer sex supplies.
Yeah.
You know, feel free to use condoms for a little bit until you get comfortable, until you establish that really good intimacy and you're sure you're on board with each other about what your expectations are.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like that trust and being comfortable has a whole lot to do with your partner.
Absolutely, and that comes down to communication, and sometimes that's kind of scary and kind of intimidating for folks.
Yeah.
But it's important, you know, to kind of talk about and be upfront with folks. And to your first part of your question there, some of the common things that we see and that we test for here at APO, probably the most common things that we come across in bulk would be infections with chlamydia and gonorrhea. Those are some of the most common STDs out there. There's also trichomoniasis, which we don't test for, but we are happy to refer folks to like the county health department or another place that might be able to help test and treat. But as far as the stuff we see and the things that we test for, just a quick rundown. We test for HIV, which is the virus that can lead to, not always, but can lead to an AIDS diagnosis. We test for hepatitis C. And then we also test for syphilis, gonorrhea, and chlamydia. So we don't cover everything that's out there. Goodness knows, we don't have the time, the manpower, or the money for that. But those are kind of the big ones. But yeah, we take care of the kind of the big stuff like HIV, Hep C, syphilis, and then the super common gonorrhea and chlamydia.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, that's great. In regards to STDs, are there always symptoms? Like if you contract it, does that person always show symptoms of it?
That's a great question, and I do get that one a lot from people that come in. The tricky thing with some of the STDs...
Because some people may say, well, I feel fine.
Right,
I mean,
absolutely.
I don't see no whatever.
Nothing seems out of...
out of place.
Right. I definitely field that question from folks a lot, so that's a good one. The tricky thing about STDs, some of the things out there, men will show some symptoms, women won't. So say like gonorrhea, chlamydia, you'll have a fella come in and he'll have very mild symptoms. He'll say, yeah, something just seems a little off. I'm not noticing anything real wild. Something just seems off. I know my body. Okay. We'll have fellas come in, they're like, and I won't use the words they're using, but they're like, oh man, it's bad. When I urinate, it's like fire. I got this discharge. I mean, not to get all graphic, but they're like, whoa, something's real off. So even from, people to people in a category like men, they can have a range of depending on how their body reacts to that bacteria, a real range in experience. Now, women a lot of times won't notice anything. They won't have anything real noticeable until it's been in their system a long time, and then it's starting to cause trouble for their reproductive system. And then they're like, ooh, I got some cramping. This is weird. I got some abdominal pain, And that's why it's important to get checked out, at least once a year on even the real common, easy stuff, just to make sure there's nothing going on. Because leaving some of those things like gonorrhea and chlamydia, they won't be like a death situation. It's not that severe, but in terms of what it can do to your body if it's unchecked and untreated, it can lead to things like infertility. So for folks who are like, oh, it's just chlamydia or whatever, but if you want kids down the line, you may not care now, but 10 years from now, if you're like, I'm really ready to settle down and have a family, it could be problematic. So
this is a question that I was thinking of. I think it's a very important question. Who is likely to contract an STD in regards to race, age, gender, etc.? I've had somebody tell me that they believe that men are most common to contract it and women don't. Some other people may believe women are more common to contract it than men don't. Some people feel like it's an age thing, or a certain ethnic group or race. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a good one too. Honestly, I could look at I could have data points in front of me and tell you specifics. But honestly, if you're sexually active, you're at risk.
No matter what.
No matter what your background, ethnicity, all that. If you're engaged.
My thoughts exactly.
Yeah, if you're engaging in unprotected sexual activity, it could be me, it could be you, it could be anybody listening to your podcast. I have folks come in and say, oh, well, I messed with this girl and I think she was nasty. And I'm like, ooh, okay, first of all, let's take down that language a little bit because that's rough. Let's not do that to our fellow human beings. Because
you made the decision to sleep with her. She wasn't nasty.
Right. She wasn't too nasty when you're... You
can fill in the blank.
You can fill in the blank on that one. But if you're active and you're not using condoms consistently, or if you're not on PrEP, which that's a whole other conversation, pre-exposure prophylaxis for HIV, it's possible to contract, potentially a lot of different STDs. So it really comes down to, as an individual, I know it's easy to get caught up in the moment, but use your best judgment that you can and be prepared like a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout. Have your preparation ready.
Sometimes
enjoy.
You get caught up in the heat of the moment.
Oh, yes.
A lot of people don't even think about it, which leads to the next question. Why do some people refuse to get tested? I kind of know in my mind, like maybe, especially if they are involved with multiple sexual partners, I can kind of see why, I would go, but I think I'm fine. Or some people are scared that something may come about. Some may come out where, that they don't want to hear, or may get a result they don't want. So what do you think? Why do you think some people just flat out say, I'm not getting tested, I'm okay? But at the same time, they're very active with multiple sexual partners.
I think I just had a conversation about this with somebody last night, I think, that fits that. I think that still within our general culture, whether you want to say that's the U.S. culture or here in Southwest Missouri, I think that there's still, even though it's very normal and natural that we are sexual beings and like to have sexual activity, I think that there's a whole lot of factors that go into folks not feeling comfortable with themselves, with their body, with the activities they get up to with their people, so to speak. And so, I think there is still a level of embarrassment, of guilt or shame. When I know when Nicole, my boss, and I go and speak to groups, we were just actually at Missionary Baptist Convention, being available for them, and at different groups of different pockets of people, and that's a predominantly Black or African American grouping. You know, tight communities, people don't want stuff getting out.
Yeah.
They don't want people whispering.
Yeah.
They don't even want the perception of something going on.
So you're saying a lot of times people just don't want to let somebody else know.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I think
I can see that.
Yeah, and sometimes there's some cultural stuff at play. I mean, it's certainly understandable that folks in the Black community may be a little reticent about medical and about something like testing, considering the historical background of how they've been done over in a real bad way multiple times by medical. So there's that, trying to work through any kind of cultural perceptions sometimes too. Yeah, folks just need to know that they can feel comfortable and not judged.
Yeah.
And when it's something that's vulnerable and that intimate, if you want to take it that way, you know, they just want to take care of their business. They don't want to think about things too much sometimes. And honestly, sometimes just getting across the threshold to talk to us and help out is a big step for folks.
Yeah. My last question is, how important is it for someone to reveal their sexual status to their partner or to anyone that they're about to engage with? And also, should you believe them? I hold to the thought, like,
For sure.
I hold to the thought, let's say if I'm being sexual with someone and I tell her, okay, I don't mind being sexual with you, but I'm going to be upfront. I got tested. I'm good.
Yeah.
Can you go get tested?
Yeah.
What if they take that as if you don't believe them, or they take that as an insult, or they may take it like, is he saying that I got something?
Right.
And that's not always the case. But why do you think it's important that if you do got something, it's important to let them know, okay, I'm just gonna let you know this straight up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got chlamydia, or I got this, or I would hope they would go get treated for it. That's what they got.
Absolutely.
But what are your thoughts on that last question?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important, and I recognize how hard it can be, especially kind of like you were referencing earlier, if you have multiple partners and if you maybe haven't been so upfront about having all those partners. But regardless of number of partners or what that situation is,
because anybody can say that they're clean.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Oh, I'm good.
I'm good. I haven't been,
Yeah, and they know they've been getting around.
Yeah, they're like, I'm fine. You're like, okay, you're fine. But yeah, I mean, I do think it's important for folks to be able to have that conversation. I mean, if you're going to be that intimate and giving of yourself in a sexual way, even though it might seem more scary to actually have a conversation than engage in sexual activity, so important, especially if you think you're going to have any kind of relationship with that person.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important because not only does that potentially head off other infections, if you have that candid conversation, you're like, hey, this is what like you're saying, this is what I've done. Would you please do this as well? That seems to me like a small thing to ask, but it's a huge thing in that conversation moment. And definitely, I have talked to folks that have come in for testing. They're like, well, whoever the partner is, they wanted me to come do this, so I'm going to do this. And, they might be a little put off by it, but I think it's a matter of how you ask and have that conversation as well. If you come in like, I know where you've been, I heard from you, that's going to put people up on their hackles. But if you say, hey, I really like you, I really think we got something going here, I want to make sure we're both in this and good. It doesn't mean you're not good, doesn't mean, your history is your history, my history is my history. But, I want to make sure that we both are stepping forward into this in the best possible way. And that way, there's no shame if you got something going on. But, let's be healthy and be adult and try to make sure we take care of each other and take care of ourselves. And that's just going to put you forward in a better way, I think. And like I said, if you come in like, okay, well, I heard from my friend that you've been around the town and back a couple times. That ain't going to fly too well. But, if you just say, hey, I really dig where we're going. I really think we got something, potential there. But let's just both make sure. And as far as, do you believe them? The thing I've always told folks, because sometimes folks will come in and say, oh yeah, I'm fixing to hook up with this dude, and he says he got tested and everything, and I say, okay, that's good. I'm glad. If they did that, I'm real proud of them, honestly. I'm glad for them that they took that step and they found out about their health and making sure they're good. Here's the follow-up question to ask them, though. Have you been with anybody since that test? Because folks have a misperception, I think, sometimes, like, oh, I got tested, I'm good, you know. And then they go hook up with somebody, and they're like, oh, that condom didn't get on, or whatever. And it's like, all right, so they were okay and they were negative on this day, but then after that day, what happened between then and now? So they might have been great, and they might have been, you know, fine on that. But that's always, to me, the question is like, okay, has it been a no-fly zone since then? Because if you've had partners, then you're kind of starting from scratch again. So. Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Hey, I'd certainly appreciate it, Henry. Thank you so much.
Such a wonderful interview. For more information about sexual health, you can reach out to apo-ozark.org. If you live here in the Springfield area, you can come by and visit the Ozarks Project of the Ozarks. You said they offer tools and
absolutely,
resources in regards to safe sex and protection and all that type of stuff. And this was a wonderful interview, and thank you so much for...
I'll throw in my last pitch just for folks that happen to be listening or watching. You know, we do testing here at our main office on South Glenstone in Springfield. We do testing at our downtown location in downtown Springfield. And if you're interested in getting a test, please feel free to holler at us. We are happy to either get you into the main office or the downtown location. And if you need any of those safer sex supplies, those are always free. Our testing, if I didn't mention it earlier, is always free. And also, if you do happen to have the unfortunate situation where you do have a positive for syphilis or gonorrhea or chlamydia, we do that treatment for free as well. And if something should happen where you get the news you really don't want, that you have an HIV reactive test so that you're HIV positive, we're not going to throw you on out in the street. We don't just one and done on that. We really like to be a hub, a one-stop shop to help envelop folks and support. So if you come in and you get that result you really aren't looking forward to, we're going to take good care of you. We're happy to be there. So.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Take this time to comment. Let us know your thoughts about sexual health. Is it important to you? Let us know that in the comment section. Send a like, send a heart. As I always say, share this video with your friends. Sexual health is important.
We hope you have enjoyed today's program. We want to connect with you. Visit us at facebook.com/The Brother Henry and You Show, or visit us on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Henry Harris 100. We're so grateful you tuned in today and hope you have a fantastic day.